up. It's always funny when I look at my computer and Facebook pops up and I see all the facial expressions I make. I'm very expressive, but you guys know that. So as you pop on, tell me hi, tell me what you're working on, tell me what you think about the weather these days. If you're local, if you're not, tell me you're somewhere where the weather is beautiful. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jackie. I am back. Yes. Hi, Mama. I thought I thought my shirt matched my hair color a lot more than it looks like it does on the screens. I don't know why that is. It looks a lot more hmm, orangey on the screen. In real life, I feel like it matches pretty closely to my new shirt. Nicole almost finished with the front of the bamboo tunic. Awesome. 84. Okay, I'm happy for you, Mom, but I'm also a little bit jealous. Gotta say. Sarah, yeah, it's that time of year. Sarah's watching from the office. It's 54 here. The sun did come out for a little bit, but it was windy, so it was quite deceptive. I get in my car. It's that time of year you get in your car where it's nice and warm, and then you get out of your car and that cold breeze just hits you. Um, it'll come soon enough. I actually left my house this afternoon to go to lunch and heard somebody had their lawnmower going. So I think it's probably a little too soggy for that around here. Oh, good, it matches. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Holly. Nothing net related. Purging and gutting rooms. Oh, that sounds like not a lot of fun. Oh, I'm swatching at the moment, keeping it nice and simple while I talk to everybody. Um, Tonight might be kind of a short one. I don't have a lot to talk about, but then again, I feel like I say that every time. And I probably say that every time. Hi, Julie. Just finished your shrug. Awesome. I need pictures. Hi, Noelle. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. Oh, Joyce, on a third attempt, my friend's fingerless mitts. Oh man. That's hard knitting for somebody else when you think it should be something that's so simple and straightforward and just turns out not that way. You can knit socks all day for people and then you try and make a pair of fingerless mitts and it just does not come out the way you want it to. Yeah, Holly says she's loving the friendship shawl pattern. I'm glad they chose one that was pretty I don't want to say mindless, but not so stressful, I guess is a good way to put it. All right, so welcome to Monday Motivation. Today is March 11th. Happy March, since I didn't chat with you all last Monday while I was gone. My name is Kristen. I am the owner of the Little Yarn Shop located in downtown Saginaw, Michigan, inside the SBRC Marketplace. Marketplace hours are 11 to 7, Wednesday through Saturday. Shop hours are 10 to 7, 10 to 7, Wednesday through Saturday. As a reminder, Monday evenings, while I am doing live, or even on weeks that I am not going live on Mondays, Deb has drop-in help class from 6:30 to 8:30, $10 for 2 hours. You pop in, come in the front lobby. Unless I'm not here, then they sometimes sneak into the shop, so they have a table to work at. Although chairs are comfy up front in the lobby. Um, let's see, what's everybody saying? Lisa, working on your core and cardigan. Excellent. Hi, Terry. Tammy, 2/3 the way through the I-cord border on the never-ending blanket. That's progress. That is some serious progress. I'm proud of you, Tammy, for sticking with it. As a little bit of a heads up, I will be going live next Monday, which is the 18th. The following Monday, I will be in Florida for spring break. V and I will be in Florida for spring break. So I am not going to promise that I'm going to go live. That would be the last Monday of the month. I might be able to sneak in a live at some point. I like doing that when I'm down there and chatting with everybody. Hi, Oriana. So, I just realized I forgot a bottle of water for myself. That's okay. So yeah, next week I'll be on live at 7. The week after, I'm not too sure about, so I'm not going to promise anything. we'll see how it goes. Upcoming events. As far as the yarn shop goes, the biggest thing that we have coming up is Saturday, April 27th is local yarn store day. I am not quite sure beyond replay next Monday. John turned 60. Oh, happy early birthday, John. So April 27th is local yarn store day. We will be having some store LYS exclusive yarns, not necessarily exclusive to our shop, but exclusive to LYSs that you can't get online or other places directly from dyers. I haven't quite figured out what that's going to be yet because it's a month and a half away, and past Kristen is not doing very well planning in order to assist future Kristen. So I'm trying. I'm trying to get myself back on track. I'm currently dealing with some allergy sinus stuff. I keep feeling like I'm gonna sneeze, so I apologize. I hope I don't sneeze and blow out everybody's speakers. I'll try and keep it to a minimum if I can. So that is coming up. As far as events here. Good, excellent. Yeah, last year Holly was in Florida. This Saturday at the marketplace is a bridal expo. I've been watching all of the different companies that are participating as vendors, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty big event. So that will be upstairs in the ballroom from 11 to 3 this Saturday, which is, I don't know what the date is. I was just looking at their post and accidentally they put today's date, and I know it's not today. So, not yet, Jackie. So this Saturday, 11 to 3, if you are going to be a bride, if you have somebody in your life that is going to be a bride, be sure to pass on that information. It's going to be a pretty cool event. Even if somebody is down the road a little bit, it's worth kind of coming and checking out. A lot of these expo events have drawings. You could win free stuff. Maybe I should have told Melissa about it sooner. But I digress. So that is happening here in the marketplace this weekend. But we will be here as usual with an open table. Little exciting things that happen here at the shop. I got a rug for under the table, and it just adds a layer of coziness. For those of you who have been in the last week, you have seen how nice it is. We have decided that it's going to be a lost cause trying to find a drop stitch marker because it's a very patterned rug, but I do think it cuts down on some of the ventilation noise, at least when you're sitting at the table. It feels cozier. Some of the ladies have said that it helps even with the fatigue and their legs a little bit, which that's a happy bonus. My thought was initially that stitch markers would be easier to find because maybe they wouldn't bounce as far as they would on the linoleum on the vinyl floor. But just not gonna be able to find them. I'll have to do like a special vacuum run where I can filter all of those out. So that's just a little fun thing. So let's talk about knitting. What did I finish? What I finished is, oops, hang on. Just lost my last stitch. I finished what I am wearing, which is my Rift tee, and I think it's Jacqueline Cheslak. I can't remember her first name. I think it's Jacqueline. As a reminder, it is designed to be a crop top tee. It's knit bottom up. There is no waist shaping, so you can easily knit more inches to it before you split for your sleeves. And there's a lot of flexibility with the pattern too. It's written for a wide variety of sizes. She does have options for putting bust darts in if you want them. She has options for short or long sleeve, and she has formulas to be able to make the sleeves fit the way you want them to. If sometimes you feel like your sleeves are a little too snug, there is a formula to help you loosen them up a little bit, I guess. So it's a sport weight yarn. It's on big needles, so it went fast. So here is, and because I did not do the bust darts, it's reversible. So one side has kind of more of a V-neck. The reverse side has more of a scoop neck or a round neck. You can wear it either way. She does tell you to keep that in mind when you are knitting it. If you want it reversible, then you obviously you can't do the bust darts, or it's going to look a little odd if you do the bust darts. But it starts with twisted rib down at the bottom, a couple inches of that. It has fun little detail of the twisted rib up the side, split hem. If you pick one direction for it to go, if you pick that you want the V-neck for the front or the scoop neck for the front, you can add the bust darts. You can also add, the original pattern has like a 3-inch rib in the back and 2-inch in the front, so it's a little bit offset. I kept mine even because I want it reversible. You do a 3-needle bind off on the shoulders, so you get this cool exposed seam. And then the short sleeve pattern has you just pick up and knit an inch of ribbing. So this pattern, I swatched. Oh, look, it's right here. You guys can't see it, but it's up there. I swatched on pretty big needles for a sport weight yarn. So normally sport weight would use like a what, like a 3 to a 5, size 3 to a 5 needle. This one called for a, now I don't remember. I think it called for a 9. I swatched on 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, knowing that the gauge for this is really loose, which is why it goes pretty quickly. But with this, the yarn being, good thing I have long arms I can reach. The yarn I used is Wonderland Yarns Cotton Kiss, 50% superwash merino, 50% cotton, sport weight yarn, but there's 372 yards in a 4-ounce skein. This sweater took me not even 1.5 hanks to do. I think I had 80 grams left. So a lot of our skeins are 100 grams, which is 3.5 ounces. These are 4 ounces. So I would say I used about 1 1/3 skeins of yarn for my top. So because it's knit on such a loose gauge, but you don't really, I mean, it's not super transparent, even on 9s. Can if you really stretch it out. But even in looking at what I'm wearing, I blocked it to gauge. It is, I knit the smallest size, so I knit the 40-inch bust. And I measured it before I put it on, and that's what it measures at. She recommends anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of ease. So it's meant to be large and boxy. And she does say if you're knitting on the smaller end of that scale to knit less ease. And if you look at a lot of the project photos, I noticed for a lot of people, it looks like their neckline is very wide, like it's almost falling off their shoulders. And I have a feeling that's because people knit with knit a size with more ease, and so it's broader there. Something to keep in mind because it is bottom up. You might want to modify your decreases so you end up with fewer stitches here, so you don't end up with such a wide neckline. Another option is always to go back and like do a crochet edge around it to try and bring it in if that's a problem. But I'm trying to get back into mindfully swatching things. So as a reminder, what I like to do is put little eyelets down here. So 6 eyelets means I used a 6, 7 means I used a 7, 8, and 9, just so it's easy. I used to do purl bumps, and then they got hard to count sometimes depending on the yarn. Eyelets are a lot easier to see. So the Cotton Kiss yarn that I have a few colors left. I got kind of a sampler variety in a couple weeks ago because I wasn't sure how I was going to like the yarn, what we were going to do with it, but I really do love it. I know last time I talked about the trapezoid tee being a good option for this yarn, and it definitely is. Oh, we've got some good springy colors. That cotton takes the yarn in a little bit of a more muted tone versus the bright 100% wool or wool nylon mix tends to tends to get really bright, intense colors. Although if you look here, these yarns, oh, get out of the way. These yarns that are here in this basket are new from Wonderland, new to us in the shop. It's their Marianne base, which is their fingering weight base, 475 yards, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. They're so super squishy. Oh, and I meant to bring, I'm gonna have to grab Jackie's Alaska hat because you guys really need to see that. I know I posted it on Show Off Your Faux Friday, but you need to see it this way too. So yeah, everything that's in here is fingering weight. Everything that's up here, the Cotton Kiss, is a sport weight. So a lot of you probably have seen the Alaska hat. I love the way the colors turned out on this. It looks like the sky is on fire. I did not knit this, Jackie knit this, but she used Heritage solids in the really, really dark navy with a skein of the Plymouth Revel, which is a slow color changing yarn. So she that did it all on its own. Hang on, I'm looking at my notes for a second. I don't think I talked about this last time. You guys tell me if I did. I can't remember from one day to the next, let alone 2 weeks. So this was the first one she did, and this Revel yarn is a little bit thinner than a fingering weight. It's kind of like a heavy lace weight, light fingering weight. So that's how that one turned out. And it was her first attempt at color work. Then she took the leftovers of her dark navy and held it with one of the new colors from Wonderland Yarns. This is Chasing Moonbeams, this beautiful purples and yellows. So those two came out looking like this. Look at how beautiful that is. It really looks like the Northern Lights. Just those purples, blues, a little bit of pale yellow and green. So you can see, I think her tension, she got better with her tension, definitely. This hat's a bit larger than that one, but that comes with practice. And the fact that this is a more superwash-y yarn. I don't think it was a different size. I think it just is one size, if I'm not mistaken. I have not knit it though. I know a few of you have, so I'd be curious, but I'm almost positive it's just one size. And I think she didn't do anything differently. It just got a little fluffier. Oh, I set all that out of the way. So that's what these beauties are. And we've got, it's good Easter colors, a good spring colors, is pale pinks, purples, kind of a tealy blue, pale blue, this fun, what is this? Cobweb. So it's like a gray with pink and yellow and purple speckles in it. This is a really good, this is called Ethereal. It's a really good denim blue. And then this beautiful pale yellow, entirely bonkers. Good spring palette. So that's something that somebody else finished, not what I finished, but I still had to show it off. What am I working on? I am working on my, I don't know if you say Gina or Jenna T. And I thought I was done with my sleeves. Oh, I am. So on this one, if you remember or don't remember, I started, it said it called for 3 skeins for my size. So I decided to alternate all 3 skeins. This is with Barocco's Tilly. I was not very prepared, you guys. Hang on. There we go. Okay, so Barocco Tilly, 62% Pima cotton, 38% Cupro, which is a cotton byproduct. So this DK weight yarn. I know there are specifics on here, 100 grams, 375 yards. So this is, what I'm working on is one of the patterns in their new book that's written specifically for this yarn. Once it's blocked, you'll be able to see this. Here we go. Lace pattern a little bit better. But it is a hand-dyed yarn, and you can look at the skeins and see that there's a lot of variation of dark and light within a skein. So I was alternating 3 skeins. And then I got tired of that and I stopped alternating 3 skeins. And I don't think you can really tell. Normally when I hold it up on camera, even if I can't see it, I have a friend named Jenna and it's pronounced not Gina. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, you guys can see it. So however I say it is how I'm going to say it. But normally if I can't see it in person, if I hold it up on camera, a lot of times I can see where there's some sort of pooling from not having alternated skeins, but I stopped probably somewhere up here. And I think it actually looks more cohesive versus less cohesive. So I feel like there's more striping up at the top, which is odd because the variation is so strong between, and I was alternating the 3 skeins. I went back and finished the sleeves because it just calls for, similar to what I'm wearing, just an inch of ribbing on each of the sleeves. It's top down, seamless. The increases are done as part of the lace. And so now I'm just knitting away on the body. Again, no waist shaping or anything in it, so it's good TV knitting. I do have 2 skeins attached now because I have this much left of my first one. So I want to make sure there's not a hard line where I stop one skein and start the next. So I'm just alternating every other row for probably 8 to 10 rows until I run out of the first one, and then I'll just carry on with the second one. I'm trying to be so good, you guys. I've woven in my ends as I went on this. I wove in my ends on this one. So the swatch I did with the Tilly, I went beyond doing so what was this? 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s, and then did a little bit of cabling so you could kind of see that it'll show the cables, but it's not super, super obvious. So this yarn lends itself to simple patterns. I don't say anything different. I expect the top part is wider. Yeah, that's true. Melissa's saying because the stitch count before you split for the sleeves, the stitch count is different up here. So the yarn might pool differently than after you split for sleeves. See this little black fleck when I'm holding this up, but it's just part of the yarn. The yarn is really, it's that chain style construction. So it's a lightweight. I have cat hair on everything, you guys. I've become one of those people. Really lightweight. I can't wait to wear it. It's soft. It's in the skein. It's really soft. When you first knit with it, it feels like it stiffens up a little bit, but once you swatch it and as it gets kind of manipulated, as your sweater gets worn, it will soften up again. But I think because of the chain at construction, it's not going to pill a whole lot. So there you can see the cables. But again, just like a yarn that's heavily variegated, like something like this. I mean, this is pretty, it's still kind of tonal, even though there are multiple colors in there. You don't need to do anything really complicated in order for the yarn to shine and look beautiful. I would even do a simpler tee than something like this. I mean, this is beautiful, but I think even if you just did like the, something like the Easy Eyelet Yoke or the Dead Easy. I'm looking at a couple of the shop samples we have where there are some eyelets, but that's it. The yarn The yarn looks beautiful on its own. I am kind of wondering if I actually needed 3 skeins though. Because I have quite a bit of my second skein that I'm just joining right now, but I'm trusting the pattern and I would rather have too much yarn than not enough. So we still, last time I was talking about this yarn, Becca from Threadbender had popped on the live and mentioned that whatever I have in store is probably all I will be able to get for a while. They are back ordered. Barocco is back ordered for this yarn until the summer. I don't know if that's because they were having issues with the supplier in getting it to them, or if the demand was so high that they just it sold out quicker than they anticipated, more quickly than they anticipated. But I do have a few colors left here in stock of the Tilly, and it is a gorgeous yarn. And then I'm working on a swatch. I still have my cabled coat, the deep winter coat on the needles, but I'm not going to show you guys because I haven't been working on that at all. This rift top that I did, my goal was to have this started and finished on our bus trip that we went on last week. So I cast on the bus last Monday. I did not get it all done. I had the body of it done and the shoulders bound off by the time we got back into town on Thursday morning. The only thing I couldn't do was the sleeves because I didn't have my small circumference needles. I didn't think I had my small circumference needles with me. It turns out I did. They were in the bottom of my bag. But that's okay. I almost got it done. I did get it done in a week. Again, I ended up using size 10 needles. So this is a clear case of make sure you swatch. I hardly ever go up a needle size on a project. And I had to go up to 10s on this in order to get the gauge that it called for. So now I am swatching with one of our custom colors from North Bay Fiber, because I have said for quite a while that we need to have a sweater sample in the shop. I've got 2 shawls, 3 shawls, unless Julie took her other one. I can't see it right now, but I think it's here. No, it's here. So I have 3 shawls in the shop that feature the North Bay Fibers yarn, which is a local yarn company, local yarn dyer, and she manages how it's milled, sources the yarn and sources the fiber and has it milled specifically for her. It's a fingering weight yarn, but it can get lofty. So I am test knitting, and this is one of our custom colors. This one's called Kristen's Fave Teal, because you guys know me. I like my teal. A pattern that's being released on LYS Day is a top-down sweater that has a little bit of color work on the yoke. Kind of it kind of reminds me of a Casapinka style sweater where no stranded color work, I don't think. I haven't read that far into the pattern yet, but it looks like it's mostly either mosaic or yeah, some sort of slip stitches one way or the other across the top. And it calls for a heavy fingering weight yarn and mohair held double, or 2 heavy fingering weight yarns, or squirt weight, kind of goes back and forth. Still in the testing phases, so that may change a little bit, but I thought this yarn would be great for that. So we could have a sweater on display for those people who like the yarn but aren't quite sure what to do and they don't want to do a 3-color shawl with it. So I am swatching like a good girl. I tried to cheat. I was looking at the shawl that I knit thinking, can I just measure my gauge from there? But the shawls that we knit with this yarn are all in garter, and this needs to be in stockinette. So I am doing the right thing. So I started on 3s. The pattern calls for 4s. Like I said, I tend to have to go down a needle size. So I started on 3s, and with a fingering weight yarn, that's not that unusual anyway. So I've got 3s, 4s, and I'm halfway through 5s. I've got my little eyelets, my little purl ridge to separate everything. I probably will swatch up with 6s also, just so I have a good size swatch, and it gives people Lisa, the designer is Becca Anderson. She is the one I was just talking about. She owns Threadbender Yarn Store in Grand Rapids. And she has designed shawls in the past that have been released on LYS Day. And this is her first foray into sweater pattern designing. So I'm excited about it and happy to help her out in doing the test knitting. Um, oh, Julie, that would be good too. The Bay Breeze is a really popular one. I've got one customer, Brenda, who has knit a handful of them, I think. And they look gorgeous in this yarn. So it'd be nice to have two. That I would appreciate it. Um, so I may be able to show you all a little bit of progress along the way, but I'm going two different directions, or I'm torn between two different directions for colors for this. I really want to use this yarn. And teal and coral are kind of my favorite spring colors to knit with. It seems like every time I go to Florida, I end up knitting something teal and coral. So I found this Barocco Ariel, which is their mohair silk blend with this teal, and I think it would just be absolutely gorgeous. So this would be held double, the mohair held double, and with a little bit across the yoke, and then the body of the sweater will be in the teal color. So that's my first option. But then I tell myself I should get out of my comfort zone and try and do something a little bit different. And so then I was over at the sport weight wall looking at what's over there. And it's pretty sparse right now because of we've been doing a lot of sport weight projects these days between the trunk show that we've got for Knitted Wit and just a lot of other things we've got going on. The Arroyo is low. The Knitted Wit Sport is low. And I want to do something that I know I can have on hand for LYS Day because we're looking at like 6 weeks from now. So if I went that direction, I was looking at Arroyo Oasis, which is this beautiful like olivey green, different shades, army green, olive green, a kind of a gray, a blue gray in there. Which as I'm sitting here, I'm staring at the last mohair and fingering weight sweater I did, which I'm pretty sure I held the mohair version of Oasis with a solid green. Every time I try and get out of what I think is my comfort zone, I end up knitting something else. Maybe I don't really have a comfort zone. So I had two options with this. If this was my main color, to do the color work with this gold, a little bit of yoked, stranded yoke, not stranded, mosaic, or to go the opposite direction and go dark with it. I think if I went the gold, this is very outside. This is very outside my comfort zone, the green and the gold together. So you all kind of give me your thoughts on what you think we should have as a sample here in the shop. Or I'm just comfortable in a lot of places. Yes. My comfort zone is very broad. That's what it is. So tell me what you think, what you want to see a sample of, what you think I should do, what I should wear. We should have here in the shop. Maybe I was gonna say maybe I'll end up with both, but that won't happen. I hardly ever knit the same thing twice. So especially if it's done on little needles. Mom, you can't vote for both. Oh, I really do. I really do love this combo for you guys. And I'm already swatching for it, but I am open to hearing what you all say. So I will keep that in mind. Mom, make both. Maybe I'll talk somebody else into making one out of the other colors because they are both beautiful. So that is what I am working on right now. Teal and coral. Teal and coral, teal and color. Okay. All right. I like what I'm seeing so far. So we'll just go with that. We'll do the teal and coral. Yes, the Florida colors. They are very Florida colors. I've done beaded shawls. One year I did a beaded shawl that was a variegated teal yarn with coral colored beads in it. Um, yeah, I tend to gravitate to those colors. Brenda likes green. Maybe she would do it. Ooh, maybe I can talk Brenda into doing it. I like that idea. Okay, so what else? We can talk a little bit about my trip, our trip. V and I went to Jackson, Mississippi last week. We left on Monday, came back Thursday morning. It was eventful, both down and back. The departure and arrival times were closer to 19 hours than the 15 that I thought, which is it's still a lot of time sitting on a bus. We took a charter bus down. So this was a trip that was organized through, it was funded by a grant through the Saginaw Community Foundation to take a group of kids that are high school seniors, but taking college classes here at Delta to, which is the community college, to go down and get a campus tour, a school tour of Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. So we met up at 5:40 on Monday morning. We left late because somebody had a medical emergency. We got into Ohio and one of the same student had another medical emergency that required us to stop and end up having to drop her at a local hospital so her parents could come down and get her. One of the chaperones, the trip organizer stayed with her at the hospital. But it was quite eventful. We had anticipated getting, so we were supposed to leave Saginaw at 6 a.m. We anticipated getting into Jackson around 9 o'clock that evening, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning by the time we finally got there. The bus got pulled over at one point. It was dark out. That's all I know. I want to say it was around 10 or 11 at night. Because they didn't have a light on the license plate. So it was a quick stop. They just, checked records, whatever. It was everything that, not everything, but a lot of things went wrong that was just kind of spiraled. By the time we got down there, like I said, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. We're checking into the hotel, getting all the students and the chaperones their keys to their room. One of the chaperones could not find her luggage, and it turned out that we accidentally, when we left a student in Ohio, we accidentally left the chaperone's luggage with her and brought her luggage with us. So I'm going to say thankfully it was one of the chaperones because she handled it pretty well. I don't know that one of the kids would have handled it quite so well, although they probably would have not been too upset if we had to take them to the store so they could go shopping for some new clothes. But we didn't get to see a whole lot, not nearly as much as I had hoped in terms of the history of Jackson. We got to see the COFO building, which is spelled COFO, and I can't remember what that stands for, but it is the building where the heads of the major civil rights organizations met and organized for Freedom Summer. And so it was cool to sit in that space where all these thought leaders have been in the past. One of the professors there, who's been a civil rights history professor for, I think he said 15 plus years, gave us a quick little 10-15 minute breakdown of the area and the importance of the building. I really wish, hi Ruth, I wish we had had more time there, but we had to kind of rush out. Council of Federated Organizations. There we go. Hi, Teresa. So I would have enjoyed spending more time there. There was a really old cemetery right next to that building that it would have been cool to kind of walk through and read some of the headstones, just kind of get a feel for more of the history of the area. But we didn't have a whole lot of time to do that because we were bouncing from thing to thing. The kids got to catch a college baseball game, some of it anyways. And so that was all day Tuesday. Wednesday, we wanted to give most of the students a chance to sleep in, which meant V and I got an opportunity to sneak out. Nothing was happening until noon that day. We had to check out at noon on Wednesday. So V and I found a really cute, locally owned coffee shop that was a mile up the road. So we walked to that. It was called Urban Foxes. They do all their own baked goods. We got some yummy quiche, and she got a raspberry scone, I think, and some delicious coffees. Then we hopped in an Uber and found our way to a yarn store called the Southern Needle, which was north of Jackson, I think in Ridgeland, something like that. A small store, very sweet owner, was kind of doing a one-on-one class with somebody while we were there, but she took time to kind of give us the layout of things and chat about the area. And of course, I got some souvenir yarn while I was there. It kind of matches my hair and my shirt. I have decided though, that most of the yarn that I have at home is souvenir yarn because honestly, you guys, my stash is this shop. Quite literally. Most of what I have at home is just souvenir yarn from when I go different places. And I've got a couple bins that are all single skein fingering weight yarns. This time I decided to buy myself a sweater's quantity of a chunky yarn. Um, she just so happened to, I fell in love with the color and then realized she had it marked down on sale because it's Mississippi and not many Mississippians want a chunky yarn, I don't think, a chunky wool yarn. Because it's humid down there, that's for sure. Um, but we met some really nice people. Even just stopping at a restaurant, people were welcoming us to the area. And the Uber driver that we had that took us from the coffee shop to the yarn store was a really sweet guy. He's this um, big old guy who drives truck over the road for a living, but in his downtime, he drives for Uber to raise money because he wants to start a food pantry and homeless shelter. So his driving for Uber was part of his ministry. I think it's so fun to go places and talk to people like that. V sometimes gets irritated that I can't go anywhere and not talk to people, but it helps in what we do every day here at the shop. So learning people's stories, which I love. And then yeah, we got a couple hours at the Mississippi Museum. So there are two museums that are connected. One is Mississippi State history, and the other is the Museum of Civil Rights. So again, unfortunately, we only had about an hour to go through there, and it was very text heavy. Lots of articles and photos of writings from books and pamphlets, and just a lot of information that we didn't have a lot of time to process necessarily. So a little bit disappointed about the time frame of things, but we still got a little taste of things. Definitely had an adventure. The museum store had a ton of Mississippi made things from a bunch of different makers. So they had pottery and they had coffee and they had teas and body butters and candles and jewelry and just really a lot of things. So we did have quite a good time wandering through and finding. I think I posted a picture the other day with all the goodies that I got. I got a big bag of grits because I love grits. Um, so the big bag of stone ground corn. Uh-oh, can't hear me. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Okay. Melissa says it's better now. Okay. Um, so pottery wise, I got three little not good. Okay, let's try again. How about now? No, it says it's connected. Okay, now I'm good. All right, there's a little delay. Okay. So yeah, I got a bag of grits. I got these little bud vases that are like pottery. Let's see, Victoria got some cold brew coffee. I got some peach tea. I got some peach barbecue sauce. She got some sort of barbecue rub for her dad. Um, I got a couple pairs of earrings. Uh, so we found a lot of really unique things. So that was probably, I would say that Wednesday was a really good day. I'll just put it that way, I guess. The one downside was we realized about 15 minutes after the cafe and the museum closed that it closed. And so we spent a lot of time eating snacks on the bus. And I'm feeling that definitely. But they sent so many snacks for the kids, it was unbelievable. Um, so they were definitely not wanting for food or snacks, but in any stretch. So that was it. And then we came back. We drove over Wednesday night and got back Thursday morning, a little bit later than we anticipated, but that's just because stops took a little bit longer than we anticipated. It ended up being 16 students and 6 chaperones on the bus, which is a fair amount. We each got a row to ourselves, but still it's a lot of sitting and you could get up and move around, but you know how it is. We get older and we can't fold ourselves into a seat and sleep for hours like we could when we were younger. Maybe. A lot of the students on the bus spent that time just zonked out. That's why I got a lot of knitting done. I did not get a lot of sleeping. Okay. I think that's all I have to talk about today. I figured I would kind of give the brief version of what happened on our trip because I've had to tell the story a few times when I got back last Thursday and Friday. So those of you who have heard it, I apologize. You heard it again. If you hadn't, now you got the condensed version of how the trip went. But I am glad I went. Always great to spend time with my child before she decides she's launching herself out to whatever her next endeavor is when she graduates. And that's coming up quickly. Um, okay. So again, I said I didn't think I had much to talk about, and now we're almost 10 to 8. So just about average. So I hope everybody has a good week. I hope you're inspired to come in, check out the new yarns, start new projects, finish something so you can put something new on the needles. Um, or just come in and hang out with us. We're here. We love to see everybody. As a reminder, Joyce doesn't have any classes for the next couple weeks. And then her double knit class, if you signed up for that, starts the beginning of April. And we are going to be putting some more classes on the calendar, possibly Tuesday classes with Joyce, maybe Suzanne, if I can talk her into coming in on Tuesdays. And crochet classes are going to start back up as soon as I get my act together and get things on the calendar on Saturdays. So have a great week. If we don't see you here in the shop, then I hope to see you all right here at 7 o'clock next Monday.